WCLN 1170 Radio and Cable Channel 16 are pleased to present We Should Know, hosted by J.W. Simmons, an upbeat, informative look at people, places, and issues facing our community. This education-based analysis of issues will remain positive and informative as we consider closely what we should know.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. J.W. Simmons here. The name of the show is We Should Know. I'm your host. We're talking with some folks from Bladen County, Elizabethtown, North Carolina. And I'm going to start with Terri Dennison. Terri, you got a bunch of titles. You're Director of Communications and Marketing, Elizabethtown, North Carolina. And you've been Executive Director of the Chamber here. That's the Elizabethtown White Lake Area Chamber of Commerce. And also you're a promoter of outdoor enthusiasts. You're a mother of nature's playground person. We're going to talk about what that is. And the other person with us today is Denise Bridgers. Denise, Lu Mil Vineyards. A lot of folks know that name. That's become kind of a location where people tell me it's the place to go, not only for events, but in case you want a cozy place to get away for a couple of days and you don't want to go to somewhere there's tall buildings and a lot of people. You can just kind of get away. You work there, and now you are the incoming president-elect of the Chamber of Commerce. So we're going to talk about today, hopefully, as much as we can. There's so much. I'm not sure how much we can get in the show, Terri, but I'm going to start with you. What's going on in the Elizabethtown and Bladen County area, a beautiful part of the state. Sometimes it's a well-kept secret, it seems to be. So tell us, number one, why you ended up here from Pennsylvania, and you're such a vocal advocate of this area.
Well, I moved here from Pennsylvania in 2019. I was looking for a position somewhere in the Carolinas. I had run a state heritage area, a destination marketing organization, and a community development organization all rolled into one in Pennsylvania, and just wanted to come to somewhere that was warmer. I was tired of winter. I lived close. My closest city was Buffalo, New York, so I was ready to get away from the winter. Yeah. Don't ever say let it snow to me. And this job came up, and it interested me because it combined a lot of my experiences with community development, with working with a membership organization, and moving them more into a tourism destination, which Bladen hadn't really been pushing itself as a tourist destination. And, you know, we've got some great assets here. We've got 2 great wineries. We've got some great parks. We've got the Cape Fear River. It just made sense, and it was a good match at that time.
So I'll segue, Denise, to you, and working with Lu Mil. Is this something you've been doing for some time, or are you originally from this area? Just kind of give us a little bit of who, what, when, and where.
I was born into it, I guess. The Taylor family is my family. Okay. And I live there on the property, so I guess I never leave it really. Mm-hmm. But it's what I do every day, all day, and bringing families in at Christmas especially, just seeing 3 and 4 generations of people remind us why my grandparents did what they did, and then my dad and mom, and then now me and my daughters are in it. So it's a generational thing. It's a family farm. We are a working farm. We started the day after Labor Day with our grape harvest. We actually machine pick the muscadine grapes, and then we have a U-pick area. So we are a continuously working farm and have to slide the lights in as soon as the muscadines are out of the field, and then as soon as the lights go out, we go into another season. So we try to keep things to keep these people that Terri's bringing to Elizabethtown and Bladen County something to do all the time. So we try several different events, but I've never known anything any different than working for my family business. Went away to school and then moved back home.
Yeah, and what you just described was decades of experience. And the other thing that struck me as so important is the family farm. A lot of folks don't realize that agriculture today is still a huge part of that is family farms. It's just not large corporates.
Right. The word I had never heard of until in the last few years, agritourism. It's like, what is agritourism? And that was exactly what we are. I mean, we're agriculture and wanting to bring people to the farm. We laugh and say my granddad kept the place locked up. You didn't want anybody on your farm seeing what you were doing, messing your things up. Yeah. And here we open it up and want people to come spend the weekend with us. So mindsets have definitely changed, but I think we're still trying to provide folks with what they thought were important.
Well, and I think part of that too is when I look at what you do, it's more about bringing people in and sharing the beauty of what agriculture is, because oftentimes folks know agriculture from the store, from the shelves, and if there's something not there, they think that maybe Food Line or Walmart grows it. It doesn't happen that way.
No, a lot of hard work goes into it.
I want to kind of get into some of the things that's happening in the area. We're at that season of the year that we're looking at Christmas. We're looking at activities that's happening that's holiday oriented. You mentioned Christmas, definitely one of the big issues happening here. Let's just talk about what the Festival of Lights are at Lu Mil. Since you opened that door, I'm going to focus on you and let you walk through it.
We're going into our 16th year of our annual Festival of Lights. It started out much smaller than it is now, but we start the day after Thanksgiving, and we'll run it that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of that weekend, and then 2 weeks of Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then we'll start on the 14th and run it continuously through the 23rd. And that's every night. The lights are from 6 to 10. The country buffet's from 5 to 9. We've got Santa, an old-fashioned candy shop, fire pits, a kiddie land. So it's like a little Christmas village that we create from Thanksgiving to Christmas to bring those generations of family and friends. And I mean, we have people like Terri that'll come several times. I mean, she'll bring people in from out of town and come a night and then come another night. We have an open-top bus tour that we encourage folks to come as a group, and it will hold up to 25 people, and it's a reservation type thing. Mm-hmm. Everything else you do not have to have reservations, but the open-top bus tour, you can just go online or to our Facebook page and book that, and you come as a group, and we have that slot designated for you to ride through, and it's old school buses that we retrofitted and opened up the top, lifted them up 3 feet so people are up above the lights. Yeah. Going through the light show. And of course, we're playing the music for the light show on that radio system as the bus tour is taken around. So we provide the driver, all they've got to do is show up with their group. And folks do it year after year after year. They want to get that bus tour as part of their tradition, I guess.
That's amazing. I just want to pause on that for one moment. To know that that's there and the uniqueness of it. And the thing I'm thinking about right now, talk about an experience for a church group or for somebody, a Sunday school class, and you want to do something special. That's amazing. Is there charges? How much does it cost to do?
The bus is $250, and that's paid when you make your reservation. Right. And then as far as driving your own vehicle through, it's $10 per person. But we have a maximum of $120 per vehicle. So if buses or hay rides, we encourage youth groups to come. They all park in the parking lot and pile on the trailer with their hay, and then they go through it. So they'll put 20 or 25 kids in the back of a truck or on a trailer, and we cap it at 120, just to encourage groups to come.
What kind of volume are you looking at in years past? Is it real heavy populated where there's certain times it would be better not to come, or other times it'd be? How do you regulate that?
If you like a lot of people, come on Saturday night. If you prefer it not to be as busy, a Thursday or a Sunday would be the less likely to be so congested. But it kind of spreads out over the weekend, maxing out on a Saturday night, though, as far as how many people we bring through.
So when I think about that and then the other activities that's going on here, do you network with some of the other businesses that's also doing things so you can kind of balance it? Or if we put this out and we get you another 100,000 people down here, can you handle that? That's what I'm saying.
We'd appreciate that, and we'll figure it out. We're good at working on
Terri like that anyway.
Yeah, Terri would like that. We do in conjunction with a lot that's going on with the chamber. I mean, we start our parade on Thanksgiving weekend, so that's Sunday, and we have started on Friday night, but that is one thing. What's the ELF?
Saturday's your typical shop local, so we do a lot to promote downtown local. We have an ELF, the EWL ELF, who gets scattered around the stores throughout the county, and there's a scavenger hunt, a little card that the kids take around. They have to find the ELF, and once they fill out so many, I think last year we had 16 retail stores in the county participate. They had to get 10 of them. They could turn the card in. And they got the stocking that was about this big.
Wow.
And it was filled with about $500 worth of goodies, all kinds of things, not just kid-oriented, but family-oriented, donated by the merchants.
I'm sure Ricky Line wanted to.
Oh, Ricky loves it.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Ricky loves that. He's a partner all the time.
But that gave us another intentional way as the chamber to promote these other areas, Dublin, Bladenboro, Clarkton, to get folks to go to those areas to look for this elf. And what are we in doing that now? How many years? 3 or 4?
This will be the fourth year, I think. Fourth year.
And we keep doing it again, so it must be
Is the momentum building?
Yes.
I think so, yes. Yes.
We're getting more and more stores participating. So they're seeing the value of the kids coming in. And they said if they get the kid in, the parents come in, the parents buy something. That's the whole purpose of it.
And there's not like a boundary line thing here where this group's from Scotland County or this group's from Sampson County. I mean, it's territorial in nature.
In the way of who comes in?
Exactly. You see people from everywhere.
Oh, yeah, we see people from everywhere.
Yeah,
down from Wilmington up past Fayetteville. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I'm noticing more and more is chambers and so forth are looking at the regional aspect as much as they are local towns. So, and that's something I think when we come back from this break, I want to kind of get into a little bit too with you, Terri, with some of the things you've done. And also I want to kind of follow that back to you, Denise, as the incoming president here, president-elect with the chamber, some of the visions that you see happening and some of the things that maybe would be not only unique to the area, but maybe some of the other areas are trying as well. The big thing now is we're seeing such a population boost in Wilmington, Raleigh, and other areas. Certainly we can say we've got room for you. Come on down and enjoy what you take sometimes as just your normal life is a great experience for people that have never been there. So as we come back from this break, we'll kind of segue into that, and Terri will pull from some of your experiences maybe from Pennsylvania to help us understand that part. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in a moment. We're talking about things in Bladen County. We're talking about things happening during the holiday season that you want to know about, and also as you may be thinking about taking a trip. We'll be back in a moment.
105.7. 105.7. Tuning into Christian 105.7 is tuning in to a space of hope, encouragement, answers, and love. With the magic of radio or the convenience of the internet, Christian 105.7 is focused on sharing the universal truth and light of Christ with a local touch that creates that special feeling of community. More than just another broadcast station, we're your neighbors. Christian 105.7. What faith sounds like.
If you run a business, you need sales. To get sales, you need customers. To get customers, you need exposure. Let our team of experts craft and produce the perfect video ad to reach your intended audience while making the most of your advertising dollars. Call 1-800-706-6538 or visit starcom.net to contact our Star Communications production team and get your business moving to the next level.
Eastern North Carolina is a beautiful place where we gladly choose to call home, and we strive to provide the best communications services. STAR is committed to improving communications to all our service areas because we want to improve the communities where we not only work, but also live. STAR Communications. We are neighbors serving neighbors.
Welcome back, folks. J.W. Simmons here, your host. The name of the show is We Should Know. We're talking with Terri Dennison from Bladen County. We're also talking this morning with Denise Bridgers, also Bladen County. Both of you guys have got interesting backgrounds. Totally different backgrounds, though, as we talked about in the first segment. You know, as I listen to you, Denise, you've been like the farm person here for you. You talked about the career, the decades your family has been in the business at Lu Mil, and I thought that was interesting. But then I segue back to you, Terri, and I'm thinking, you know, this lady's from Pennsylvania. She's traveled all over the world and she's done all these kinds of things. And it's just fascinating to hear your story about getting to Bladen County. But we are talking about Bladen. We're talking about the holidays. We're talking about events. For example, like the lighting of the White Lake area. Is that a big deal here during the Christmas season?
It's become, we actually, 4 years ago or 3 years ago during COVID, we were given a challenge by the state tourism office to try to increase activity in a safe environment. And we thought we have Lu Mil, the Festival of the Lights, was bringing people in already. What could we do to create another night activity that would keep them staying here for the whole weekend and then shopping in our downtown and our other retail stores and, you know, getting out on the trail and stuff. And we thought, it was just one of those weird moments where I was brainstorming with somebody and they said, why don't we light the docks at White Lake? And that's where it evolved from. And it's a competition between the businesses, the residents, and the community peers at White Lake to light their docks up. And then it's a popularity vote on which ones win first place.
You know, I want to spend a little bit of time on the White Lake thing because I think a lot of folks know of White Lake. But the thing that strikes me about White Lake, which I don't really see anywhere else, is that's a natural spring-driven lake. I mean, we're talking something that refreshes itself regularly. We don't get that much in society.
No. And I think the thing with the lighting of the lake was so many people do know White Lake, but they know it as a summer destination. They don't think about it like, I should come back to my second home there, my vacation home during the winter. This competition, this lighting of the lake was something to bring people back into White Lake in a time that they normally wouldn't be here. And we started pushing the envelope and looking at how White Lake could be open during the shoulder seasons and how the restaurants around the lake could be open longer. And we are seeing more and more of them open. More of the lodging facilities are open year round. More of the restaurants are staying open all year, or at least maybe only on the weekend, but they're open all year so that people can come more often. And we were hoping that lighting of the lake would show them it was a possibility, and it worked because it's happening.
Denise, you have overnight facilities on your property.
We do.
Are they at capacity regularly, or is it just a certain time of the year they're at capacity?
They're pretty full, especially weekends. We've got 12 vineyard cabins and 2 guest houses.
Wow.
And when we fill up, we've got, my daughter helps me with the reservations and stuff, and she's got numbers for the other local accommodating areas to where we can give them somewhere to stay. And some of them even offer discounts with White Lake, especially in the shoulder season, what she's talking about. And, you know, we're full. We'll call this number and ask for so-and-so, and they'll offer you a discount to come stay with us or whatever. So when we try to give them another idea of somewhere else to stay if we're full.
Yeah. But the first thing that we look at is your accommodations. And basically what I hear you saying, they are equal to or may even be more economical than going to some of the big Sheratons and other places in the state here.
We like to think so.
Yeah. And I think the uniqueness is kind of the privacy. You mentioned the cottage mentality. I mean, folks usually think about serenity, quiet, kind of a country setting. Right.
Just somewhere to get away. And when we first started doing it, people were like, well, what is there to do there? I said, absolutely nothing. I said, a bottle of wine and a good book.
Yeah.
But we try to always let them know the activities and things that are going on. And then when we do have events on the weekend, I mean, those are booking 6 and 8 months out. When we announce a band that's playing for one of our festivals or our May Day Jamboree, any of those things, as soon as we make announcements, they fill up, you know, and then we'll have a wait list. So if, you know, had several things this year coming up on Great Festival where some folks had to cancel at the last minute, I had a wait list. And even the guy that was on the end of the wait list, because he had not made other plans, he was one that was able to come use it. So people were just very thankful that we kept that list, that we reached out to them and, you know, wanted them to come stay with us that weekend. And we try to keep them full. I mean, we promote them and try to do all that we can do to keep people coming to Elizabethtown and give them something to do. I always tell people they're not going to come to Lu Mil and stay for 3 days and do just what's here at Lu Mil. We've got to give them other things to do in Bladen County. And so that's where I think Terri has been a tremendous asset.
One of the things that you talked about, and we mentioned briefly, was this thing, speaking of things to do, is this elf scavenger hunt thing that you or somebody come up with. That just sounds pretty interesting. I mean, you talk about something to do. It's totally out of the norm. You probably, I don't know whether anybody else has ever now heard of that before, but you're talking about at Christmas time. But that's a unique thing. Kind of explain how that goes and how somebody would get involved in it.
Well, if a retailer wants to be involved, they have to be a member of the Chamber of Commerce. And then they have a right to be involved. Basically, there are 2 size elves. They're flat. They're just on coroplast. Yeah, coroplast, and they get hit. There's one about this big and one about this big, and the retailer hides them throughout their shop. They get one, they hide them in their shop somewhere, and the visitor, the person, the patron, gets a card, and when they find it in that shop, they have to go find a salesperson or the owner and say, I found the elf, here it is, and then they just punch the card. So it's really simple.
So does that mean they have won something?
Nope. They have a chance to win. They have to get 10, like last year, 10 out of 16 punches. They have to turn it in, and then they could win. It's a raffle. Could win a 5 foot tall stocking filled with stuff.
Yeah. So the elf could be anywhere. It could be in one of the cottages at Lu Mil.
I typically keep it in the gift shop. It's supposed to be where the public is coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
during the light show, we could put it like in the candy shop, or we could put it in Santa's building, but it needs to be where
not that it will be happening that way. It not necessarily will be happening that way, but it could be.
We're
not going to give any secrets away, is what I'm saying.
But we've typically had it in the gift shop because we're open continuously 7 days a week there. The candy shop and those other things across the on the other side of the parking lot, they're only open during the light show. And it's pretty hectic and crazy during that time. So
I can imagine.
It's really neat to watch the little ones come in to look for it, because they've got a list. They know, I mean, they'll make a list on a Saturday morning and tell mama where they want to go off of their card to go find the elf. And so they come in looking for it and get excited when they find it or whatever. And so we stamp it. And then any retailer can collect it if they only want to do 10. Some of them did all of them, didn't they?
Yep.
If they only want to do 10 and turn it in, then any of us retailers that are participating, we can collect it, and then we get it to the chamber office.
And this kind of begs the answer to that question about what is there to do. This is something to do at Christmas time, holiday season, especially if you got children, you want them to be engaged in something, and you need to be with your children. Let's hope more people are with their children, and just kind of enjoy life. So let's kind of get to the farmers market thing. I want to get into that a little bit. The farmers market's always interesting. It's always got something going on related to agriculture. So what happens there at Christmas that is somewhat unique for you?
Well, every Saturday from Thanksgiving, the Saturday after Thanksgiving on to the Saturday before Christmas, we have a different themed event. We call it Christmas at the Farmers Market. The first weekend is Shop Local. We try to get as many local vendors, local chamber members to come out, especially if they don't have a storefront. Come out, tell people what you have to offer. If you offer gift certificates, promote that. It's a good time to let people know that. We try to have a little bit of entertainment with it going on. The second Saturday, which I think is December 2nd, will be our Santa Paws and Claws. And that's a partnership with our Elizabethtown Veterinary Hospital and the Barking Lot, which is a kennel, boarding, and grooming business. And they help us tremendously. We have Santa and Mrs. Claus there. People can bring their pets and get pictures with their pets, and it's a good event. And then the third one is all about the kids. We have a Grinch touring hour. We have a magician. We work with Bernie's to do cookie decorating for the kids. The extension office does a bunch of ornament making. We just make it about the kids and let the parents have a little bit of time to go downtown and shop. And the fourth one is called the Marketplace, where we're going to get people like Lu Mil who have products that are made locally to sell and highlight all the Bladen County products.
And it's a huge amount of products. One of the things that I want to segue in as we come back from a break is this idea of the history of Elizabethtown. And I want to try to get it in simply because it's such a deep history back to the Revolutionary War. And there's things that happen here that staged what the rest of this country is. And Terri, I'm probably going to come back to you with that. And Denise, I want to kind of follow up some things, particularly with you about the unique niches in the area that is just kind of unique. We talked a little bit about White Lake and those kinds of things, but one particular place that I've already heard you talking about is the bike trail here. And I thought, how can you have a mountain bike trail in Elizabethtown in Bladen County that's like Sampson for the most part is flat country? So we've got a lot to talk about. We've got 2 more segments coming up, but I want to hit those 2 to make sure we get them in, the Revolutionary War thing, and I want to try to segue into that mountain bike trail, which I found fascinating after listening to you. I spent 45 minutes looking at it. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in a moment. We're talking about exciting things happening in Bladen County, particularly around the holidays, but really, if you look at it, a year round. And we'll be back in a moment.
Providing fewer commutes, more backyard offices, and crystal clear meetings. Providing less, you froze up, and more presence in your presentations. Providing a better internet experience. Providing possible.
You're out for an evening on the town. Finally a chance to relax and forget that you left your front door completely unlocked. Fortunately, you just installed a security system from Star Communications. With just your cell phone, you can check on your house, lock it down, light it up, and get back to relaxing.
He forgot to put Buster in his crate.
Unfortunately, we can't help with that. Security and automation from Star Communications. Call today to find out more.
Most aging adults want to stay in their homes as long as possible. And as your loved ones get older, you want to support them, even when you can't be there. Star is proud to offer Star Alert. This new system is now mobile and has GPS compatibility, so your loved ones can live their lives and you can have peace of mind, knowing they can get the help they need with just the simple push of a button. The new Star Alert also offers automatic fall detection, so help will be alerted even if they can't press the button. Call and ask about Star Alert today.
Welcome back. We Should Know's on there. J.W. Simmons, your host. We're glad you're with us today. We're talking about things from the beautiful county of Bladen and 2 folks that know a lot about that. And Denise Bridgers is one, Lu Mil Vineyards, and also the upcoming director of the chamber. It's called president-elect, but you're going to be president of the chamber down here. So I'm just trying to get that out there, Denise. And of course, Terri Dennison. Terri, you've been around some time, and we've talked about your background a little bit, but there's literally so much here that just stuff that I want to make sure we try to cover that I've started looking at it. And I'm thinking about time, and I just want to get it in. And one of those I want to try to get in right now is a history piece. And Terri, I'm going to segue to you on this one, the Revolutionary War and what's connected with that. Particularly, you do not only it as an event, but to just bring people to the awareness of the importance of that historical battle that occurred here during the Revolutionary War, that kind of set a precedent for the rest of the country. Because if it was not happening on the East Coast, it won't happen on the West Coast. So we had to start here and go that way. So talk to us about that.
Well, and I don't think a lot of people know that Elizabethtown was the site of a battle between the Tories and the Patriots towards the end of the Revolutionary War. It was after Morse Creek. Most people know Morse Creek. It was after Morse Creek happened. And it really was, the Patriots were groups of farmers that had gotten together, but they surprised the Tories. They were camped out. They were kind of overtaking the town. They were camped out at what would now be considered our farmers market, the area of the farmers market. And the Tories kind of circled around. The rumor is they came across the Cape Fear River. They had taken all their clothes off, bundled them into a packet, put them over their heads so they would stay dry with their guns, and went across the Cape Fear River to come up and behind the Tories and surprise them, making the Tories rush down into the Cape Fear River
with nowhere to go from there.
Right, and try to escape to Wilmington. It was not a huge death total battle, but it was a significant taking back control of the Cape Fear River and the community that was on the Cape Fear River at that time. And that's why we have Torrey Hole Park right at the Cape Fear River. It's at 701 in Broad Street. It tells a little bit about that history. It's also a great 9-hole disc golf course and an amphitheater. Just add that in, overlook at the Cape Fear River. But it tells that story. The significance is that this year, 2023 marked the 250th anniversary of Elizabethtown being chartered. And that was prior to the Revolutionary War, obviously. And at one point, we were slated to be the capital of that area, but New Bern got it. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But this year, we've been slowly celebrating. We've had a couple series of events, and the final event will be November 11th. We actually had to postpone it from September because of the tropical depression that came through. But we will have our final event, and we're focusing on a little bit about the 250th, but more about the industries and what made Elizabethtown what it is now. Some of the stories, some of the industries, that type of thing. Lu Mil will be there as Taylor Manufacturing, which very important to the agricultural history of not only this area, but a huge amount of areas because of the equipment and things that were developed through Taylor Manufacturing. We'll have all kinds of stories. We'll have representatives from the peanut industry. Peanut industry is big here. We're going to have a couple contests just to make you think about it. One is simple. We have a hollering contest because that was something that was done, a whistling contest. We're going to have a boiled eating peanut contest, which we haven't heard anybody have one. I think there's one in South Carolina, but nothing local. And then Melvin's, which is known for its hamburger, one of the top 100 places to eat hamburgers in the state of North Carolina, is hosting a hamburger eating contest.
No way.
Yes. So it'll be
not a hot dog, but a hamburger
eating contest.
Wow.
Now it'll be a straight hamburger. There's not going to be any filling on it.
That was kind of dilute the purpose. That is wild.
Yeah, so it was kind of neat the way people have stepped up and come up with ideas for this event. And we have music throughout the day.
You got several bands, I think, this involved.
Right, starting with the Dixieland band, then we're going to have a local. I call him a kid. He's not a kid. He's like almost 40, I guess, but I call him a kid. He's got a band. He's been playing, recording in Nashville. His band will be playing, and then a popular beach band, classic rock band called River Mist will be playing. So it'll be a day full of music.
So now this will be an all-day event, or will it be a multiple-day event?
Nope, all-day event. And because we moved it to November 11th, that was the best date. We are adding in a veterans ceremony to honor the vets from this area. I mean, you need to. So we're adding that.
But there's kind of a connection there. If you think about the Patriots and what the Patriots did, it was that volunteerism of being part of something to defend the country. It just has a deep meaning coming from where you're doing it and now.
It's very exciting. I'm really looking forward to this event. I think it's going to tell a lot of stories that people don't know about our town.
Denise, how does businesses in the area kind of parlay and be part of this? By parlaying, I mean being part of it that actually helps their business.
Well, it's perfect timing for a lot of businesses coming up with the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas. They can promote special events that they've got going on. They can set up as a vendor. They must be a chamber member. Is that correct? Or
not for
the town of Elizabethtown.
Yeah, not for this.
But through the chamber, we have worked hard reaching out, wanting people to participate as a vendor or set up some of the things. You've got the extension service and some of those doing different areas. And just the main thing is get out there and tell people what you do so that they realize it. I mean, it's amazing people that live here and don't realize what they're doing at tracks in Clarkton or, Market on Main and Bladenboro and some of the outlying areas that when you think of Elizabethtown, you may not consider them. And we try real hard with the chamber to do that.
To make it all inclusive.
It's all inclusive.
So they could come to Elizabethtown, they could stay at Lu Mil Vineyards, they could go to Dublin, they could go to some of these other local towns that has some unique things going on as well.
Yes.
Does the smaller towns here, and I shouldn't say smaller towns, but the other towns here, I guess is the best way to put this, do they have chamber directors, or is it pretty much the chamber here kind of looks after all of the towns as well?
The chamber kind of looks over all the towns. Its main task is Elizabethtown, White Lake area, and we kind of emphasize the area. The important thing to realize is that because we do not have an occupancy tax in Bladen County, we lack a TDA, which is normally the organization that promotes the county. And the Visit North Carolina and the state then recognized the chamber as being the Elizabethtown White Lake Area Chamber of Commerce being that entity that promotes all of Bladen County. And that's kind of where we tried to bring everybody together because it's good for all of us. Like Denise said, if somebody's staying with her, they're going to go several places. So it's good to connect all of us together. And the chamber has kind of taken that on, at least in the realm of, for tourism promotion and increasing tourists.
Tell us about Mother Nature's Playground. Where did that come from? On break a while ago, we were talking about it a little bit, Denise, and Denise pointed toward you, Terri. So Mother Nature's Playground, interesting concept.
Well, the area I came from in Pennsylvania was, we were known for outdoor recreation. So the viability of an area really promoting itself for tourism promotion and being successful at it, I've seen it happen. And when I got here, I was surprised that we have so many assets that both the residents and the visitors could enjoy. And we really don't get out to them.
Right.
So our first goal was to promote those parks and the amenities that are out there. And we were struggling with how do we promote this? How do we give it a name? How do we create a brand around it? And we started looking at the fact that Bladen County is the mother county. All 55 counties in North Carolina came from the original designation of Bladen County and the state of Tennessee. Wow. Yeah. So originally Bladen County went all the way to the Mississippi River. And
so you're saying it don't now.
No, don't now. We'd like to think our influence does, but it
was surprising she had that worked out.
But so it was called the Mother's County, and we started thinking about how do you match outdoor recreation and the beautiful landscapes that we have, and how do we promote them? And the idea came up of this is Mother Nature's Playground. Wow. Yeah, let's celebrate that.
And there's so many intricacies here and things to look at. Sometimes we put them all on the screen and we talk about them and folks is going, I knew I wanted to go there for something. I've kind of forgot. So we're going to try to put websites up so people can see it. If they want to pull something up, they can pull the site up that you have about the 250th year anniversary. They can look at some of the bands. I mean, if they could schedule around saying, well, I'm going to go check out one of the bands and I'll stay over at Lu Mil that night and go somewhere else. So we're going to do that. When we come back, I want to try to get into some of the ideas of other things that are happening, and this idea that Bladen County and Elizabethtown, especially when you talk about all these things going on, becomes a destination. It's not just, well, I'm going to run down maybe and see Ricky Lineman, which is wonderful. And Ricky, I want you to know, I'm saying today, it'd be good for folks to go to your store. But at the same time, you want people that's going to be here, maybe Denise, and linger for a while. So after we come back from break, let's talk about some more of those events. And we'll be kind of coming into closure on this next session here. So I'm looking forward to just listening to you guys tell us some more things about the history and things happening here. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We'll be back in a moment. We're talking with folks about Bladen County, and did you know, and should you know, but we should know more about Bladen County. We'll be back in a moment.
Just because something may work doesn't mean it's right for your business. Let Star Communications' knowledgeable consultants help you customize a hosted voice system that's right for you. Our dedicated experts work with you to understand your business needs and guide you at every step, from choosing and installing services to ongoing maintenance and support. Contact Star today.
For the ultimate Wi-Fi experience, you need whole home Wi-Fi from Star Communications. Star's whole home Wi-Fi provides ultimate coverage, ultimate performance, and ultimate power all the time. Star's whole home Wi-Fi systems feature the latest Wi-Fi 6 technology and are equipped with unrivaled bandwidth and 4 times more simultaneous connections. So you can connect tons of devices throughout your home with no lag and no downtime. Plus, with 24/7 support and remote troubleshooting, you can rest assured that Star is always there to help you should any issues arise. Star's whole home Wi-Fi also comes with the Command IQ mobile app, putting you in control of your home network and making it easy to set up and connect devices, run network speed tests, pause Wi-Fi, and set parental controls all from the palm of your hand. It's the ultimate Wi-Fi experience. Contact Star today to get started.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Thank you for being with us. The name of the show is We Should Know. My name is J.W. Simmons. I'm your host. The show comes to you on Star Communications Channel 16, also simulcast on WCLN Radio. We're talking from Bladen County to 2 people that know a lot of things that's happening in the Bladen County area. And one of those is Denise Bridgers. Denise, you're with Lu Mil Vineyards, and you've been doing this a long time. But the interesting thing is, it's not only you, but your whole family for decades has been building that as a major tourism attraction site. Although, as you pointed out, it's a live, living farm, and you farm, but you bring people in by the thousands each and every year. And also, we have with us Terri. Terri, you're from Pennsylvania, but somehow you just, even though you do have a northern brogue, does she not have a northern brogue?
Yes.
She has a northern brogue. She fits right in. I mean, she just is like there. And you're making things happen down here, but your background in Pennsylvania puts you in a position when you landed here, you could just see all kinds of possibilities.
Absolutely.
So I want to kind of continue this last segment to let people know, again, that we're coming to you from Bladen County and in Elizabethtown. But as you mentioned, Denise, Elizabethtown, yes, but you also look at the entire population down here in Bladen, the smaller towns, Dublin and others, of events that's going on. So what I wanted to touch base on this one, which was kind of interesting to me, is the importance of tourism. There's $33 billion industry in North Carolina. That's $33 billion with a B. And tourism is one of those things that people maybe don't think about it as generating revenue, but it does. And then it brings just to Bladen County, 51 million plus to Bladen County. That's serious money in my little world. And I just thought that ought to be kind of pointed out. Where do we go from here when we look at the whole tourism thing and development? We've talked a lot about things about taxes and other things, but one of the things we've missed that intrigued me, and I mentioned this to you, Terri, is the trails and mountain biking. Mm-hmm. I just couldn't wrap my head around that till I was telling you the video I saw of the mountain. Tell us about that, because you've been known to get on a bike, I think.
It's been a while. Yeah. I'm gunning for an e-bike right now. We have the Browns Creek Bike Park. It's a mountain bike park and nature trail. So I don't want people to think they just have to mountain bike on it. You can go and walk it too. And when I first moved here, I walked it a lot. I had a large dog who needed a lot of exercise, and I walked it, and I realized it was quite amazing because we're flat, and you think everything is flat. I mean, there are little hills, but the trails itself goes down into the ravines and up, and it has switchbacks, and it has a lot of different obstacles on it. We're fortunate that the Cape Fear Sorba group is behind it. It is a town-owned park, but Cape Fear Sorba does the building of the trail. They're a volunteer group. They have members from all over southeastern North Carolina, and they will come and they will build trail. When I got here, I think we were at 5 or 7 miles of trail. We're now at 15 and a half, probably 17 by the end of the year. In all seriousness, their ultimate goal is to go to 26 point something, which makes us an epic trail. It's like one of those, every mountain biker needs to do it if they're a serious mountain biker. You have to claim you've done an epic trail. So it's amazing. Like you saw in that video, it can be strenuous.
It's challenging.
It is challenging. The 2 miles that they're working on currently are going to be a beginner, so the beginners can have a little sense of it. But we host the North Carolina Interscholastic Cycling Association. They have 4 races every year. That's school kids on teams that do mountain biking as their sport, just like a soccer team, a football team. We host that 4 times a year. And this year they have added the first weekend of December an adventure cycling, which is where they're coming to our park, and they're not racing. They're just getting to know the trail better. So normally they're limited to a 3-mile course for the race. This time they'll be able to see the whole trail and all the pieces to it. But when they come to our area, last year for the NICA race in March, there were 600 plus school students registered for the race. And when you think about the multiplier effect, the people coming with them, it's great. So
it's easy to get into 2,000 or 3,000 people.
Right. It's amazing. So that park has a huge effect on us that people don't realize. And you might drive by it when you're on 87 on the bypass and never even know that it's there. It's an amazing park.
And it's got, as I could see, it's got some huge drop-offs. I mean, you can just look at it and think, oh my goodness, if you make one little turn, I might not see you more for a week or two. You're gone for a while, you know?
Yeah, but it's, and that's part of the reason the kids are coming to learn to do it safely.
Yeah.
But, it's an amazing park, and we're considered one of the best parks. I've heard east of 95, and I've heard other mountain bike people say in North Carolina that we're one of the best in North Carolina.
When you add the mountains in, that's pretty big.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So Denise, coming in again as president-elect of the chamber, what's your vision for the coming year? What do you see, or what would you like to see the chamber not only engage, but something that we don't have listed, or we may have it listed, but just something you would like to see as kind of a vision for you and for Lu Mil, and tied together or not necessarily tied together? What would you like to see happen? And don't, if you think too long, now I'm going to get Terri to tell
Give it to Terri. Her mind's probably
I just tell you, she's probably already got a plan.
She probably already has it all worked out.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, to make everyone inclusive, to feel like we, the chamber, have their best interest at heart. We want to hear their concerns. We want to know what it is that they want. And if it can happen, she tries to make it happen.
Right.
So that would be the main thing, is just for member involvement. We offer so many things that we still don't feel like our members participate in and get involved with. I mean, we want it to be more than you pay a membership and you're a chamber member. We try to recommend those folks. We try to use those when we're having events. We try to cater with the one, if the ones are caterers, then we reach out to them. Florist, we use our own chamber members. T-shirt folks. I mean, anything that we are doing for an event, from the water festival to anything else, we try to use our own chamber members. And we just hope that everybody realizes that. And that's just another advantage of being a chamber member, is that we're going to promote you and be your cheerleader and go to these events with you and try to help make them successful.
And Terri, I hear that a lot with chambers, is exactly what Denise talked about, is how do you have members to understand not only is it a benefit to them as far as the events, but there's a personal benefit to that chamber. And one of the things I recall either reading about you is that you look at it as a regional thing. You see a larger landscape than just one county, that this huge landscape becomes attracting somebody to southeastern North Carolina, to this region of the state. Are you getting that kind of feedback from other folks you visit with in other counties?
Definitely. We have several groups that work together. We're part of the Uplift program, which was a state program focused on small rural counties and how to develop tourism strategies for them. There are, I think, 5 total right now, groups of them, clusters. So we work with Sampson County, Bladen County, Robeson, Columbus. That's our 4-county cluster right now. And one of the things we're talking about is what do we all have jointly that we need to work together to tell? There are 3 things that I'm always preaching about with that group, talking more about our agriculture, because, we're inland, we're intercoastal. We're not the coast, and we need to capture those people who might have already done the coast and they want something new. So our agriculture, we need to talk about our history a lot more, and we need to celebrate our arts. And how do we pull them together in some, whether it's a regional effort or it's a county by county, but how do we support each other? So I do work with those, my colleagues.
Denise said that's an ongoing thing, I think, with even businesses like yours, for example. I'm sure you have a network of other vineyards and other folks to compare and to look at and to see what works and what don't work. And maybe if somebody else is trying something, because this whole agritourism thing is statewide. It's not just Bladen. It's even in the mountain areas and the hills and the Winston-Salem areas and those kinds of things.
Yeah, Visit NC, the agritourism networking, all of those things, Lu Mil and Divine Foods are a part of that. And that's where you learn from your friends. What are you doing? What are we doing? Why did it not work? I mean, we reach out. I mean, and I do that especially locally here with some of our chamber members. If we're thinking of trying something new or different, I talk to them about it and say, hey, I see y'all have been doing this. Is there a reason why we, not trying to copy them, but it would be something similar, and just want to, and sometimes I've said, hey, I didn't even think about that, and it may be something we did or didn't do. But you see that really big with agritourism because it's very seasonal. You've got somebody that is doing a corn maze. Well, they're not going to be doing lights because they're in the middle of, a different season or whatever. And then you've got the blueberry farmers or strawberry farmers. So everything is very seasonal with agritourism. And some of them may do several things, but it's really neat to bounce those ideas off. And I mean, it's a weekend or 3-day long thing when you go to some of these networking events. And Terri does a lot of that with her position with the town, some of the meetings and conferences and things and she comes back with great ideas that, you learn from somebody else.
Well, I want to really thank you guys for sitting down and just having a conversation with us today, just talking about Bladen County. But obviously what we talked about was much larger than Bladen County. There's opportunities here. There's opportunities in the region. There's things that you have shared with us today. I'm sure I will get text or calls and say, how do I get up with you? So we're going to post a lot of numbers on the screen. Again, thank you for being with us. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. We look forward to seeing you again on We Should Know right here. And as always, we always look at you and say, may God bless.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of We Should Know with host J.W. Simmons. If you have a question, comment, or suggestion regarding this or any episode, please send your emails to weshouldknowedu@gmail.com. And remember to tune in every Tuesday at 2:30 for another informative episode of We Should Know.